The Rosewood Grand Hotel's bridal suite consultation room was exactly as I remembered it. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor, crystal chandeliers catching the afternoon light, and soft classical music playing through invisible speakers. I designed this room myself 3 years ago when I purchased the property. My sister Victoria sat across from the wedding coordinator, her fiancé Brandon beside her, both of them radiating the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. Mom sat at the head of the table like she was chairing a board meeting, her designer handbag placed prominently on the glossy mahogany surface. I sat in the corner chair they designated for me, the one furthest from the table. The courtesy invite chair, Victoria had called it when she texted me about this appointment. So the ballroom can accommodate up to 400 guests, Amanda, the wedding coordinator, explained. The package includes full catering, premium bar service, your choice of floral arrangements from our preferred vendors, and a dedicated event staff of 20. It's perfect, Victoria breathed, squeezing Brandon's hand. This is exactly what I envisioned. How much? Mom asked, always practical. Amanda smiled professionally. For a Saturday evening in June with the full premium package, the total comes to $480,000. I kept my expression neutral. I'd set those rates myself last year. Brandon whistled low. That's significant. It's worth it, Victoria said quickly. This is my dream wedding, Brandon. I've been planning this since I was a little girl. We can make it work, Mom assured them. Your father and I have been saving. We'll contribute half. Brandon's parents have agreed to cover another $150,000. That leaves about $90,000 for you two to handle. I can pull from my savings, Brandon said, though he looked slightly pale. We'll make it happen, Victoria declared. Then her eyes slid to me for the first time since we'd arrived. Of course, if Rachel wanted to contribute, that would help. All eyes turned to me. I'd be happy to help, I said quietly. Really? Victoria's eyebrows rose. Because you didn't offer to help with the engagement party. Or the bridal shower. Or literally anything else. You didn't ask. I shouldn't have to ask. You're my sister. You should want to help. I nodded slowly. Hey. I'll cover the entire venue cost. The room went silent. The entire cost? Mom repeated. $480,000. I'll pay for the hotel venue package. Victoria and Brandon exchanged glances. Mom's eyes narrowed. Where exactly would you get $480,000, Rachel? Mom asked carefully. From my accounts. Your accounts, Victoria repeated flatly. You work in hospitality management. You live in a one-bedroom apartment. You drive a Honda Civic. What accounts? I have savings. Brandon leaned forward. Rachel, that's very generous, but we need to be realistic here. That's $500,000. That's not normal savings. Where would that money come from? Does it matter? Yes, it matters, Victoria snapped. I'm not taking money from whatever weird situation you've gotten yourself into. What weird situation? I don't know. That's the point. You're offering $500,000 out of nowhere. Normal people don't have that kind of money lying around. Especially not people who work basic hotel jobs. I don't work a basic hotel job. You're a hospitality coordinator or whatever, Mom said dismissively. That's middle management at best. There's no way you have legitimate access to that kind of money. The implication hung heavy in the air. You think I got the money illegally? I asked calmly. I think it's suspicious, Victoria said. And I think if you actually had $500,000, you wouldn't be living in a tiny apartment and driving a car from 2015. Maybe I'm financially responsible. Or maybe something strange is going on, Mom said firmly. And we don't want any part of it. Victoria's wedding needs to be perfect and legitimate. We can't have any questionable money involved. Amanda, the coordinator, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. I caught her eye and gave a tiny shake of my head. Not yet. So you're refusing my help, I clarified. We're refusing your charity, Victoria corrected. We're not a charity case, Rachel. We have our own money, our own resources. We don't need handouts from my little sister who suddenly claims to have $500,000 in cash. I never said cash. Whatever. The point stands. We'll pay for our own wedding, thank you very much. Brandon nodded in agreement. We appreciate the offer, Rachel, we really do. But Victoria's right. We should do this ourselves. It's more meaningful that way. More legitimate, you mean? I said quietly. Frankly, yes, Mom said. Until you can explain where that money came from in a way that makes sense, we'd prefer to handle our own finances. Mom's right, Victoria added. And honestly, Rachel, you should focus on your own life instead of trying to insert yourself into mine. Maybe work on getting a better job, a nicer place to live. Stop pretending you have money you clearly don't have. I'm not pretending. Then prove it. Show US bank statements. Show us where this money came from. You want to see my financials? If you're going to make wild claims about having $500,000, yes. I pulled out my phone. Amanda, could you pull up account verification for a wire transfer of $480,000? Amanda hesitated, looking between me and my family. Are you sure, Ms. Chin? I'm sure. She opened her tablet and pulled up a banking interface. I'll need authorization codes. I rattled off a series of numbers. Amanda's eyes widened slightly as she input them. Transfer verified, she said quietly. Funds available and cleared for immediate wire. Victoria's confidence faltered. That doesn't prove anything. You could have borrowed that money. Taken out loans. You want me to complete the transfer? Put the money in escrow for your wedding venue. No, Mom said quickly. Because we still don't know where it came from. For all we know, you've gotten involved in something illegal. Identity theft, fraud, who knows what. I work in hospitality management. So you keep saying. But hospitality coordinators don't have $500,000 wedding budgets lying around. Brandon cleared his throat. Look, Rachel, I'm sure you have your reasons for whatever's going on. But Victoria and I have discussed this and we want to do things the right way. Traditional. Our families contributing what they can, us covering the rest. No mysterious money from unclear sources. Even if it means scaling back the wedding? I asked. We're not scaling back, Victoria said firmly. We're having the Rosewood Grand, the full package, everything perfect. We just don't need your suspicious charity to make it happen. The Rosewood Grand is important to you? It's my dream venue. I've wanted to get married here since I was 16. It's the most prestigious hotel in the city. Only successful people get married here. Successful people, I repeated. Yes. People who've actually accomplished something. People with real careers and real money. Not people playing dress-up with mystery funds. Mom nodded approvingly. The Rosewood Grand represents a certain caliber of client. When you have your wedding here, it says something about your status, your family's status. It's an investment in reputation. And you think my money would taint that reputation. We think your unexplained money raises questions we don't want associated with Victoria's special day, Mom said firmly. I looked at Amanda, who was studiously avoiding eye contact with everyone. Amanda, what's the deposit required to hold the date? 20%. $96,000. And when is that due? Today actually. We've been holding the date courtesy for 3 days, but we need confirmation by 5 p.m. today or we'll have to release it to our waiting list. Victoria glanced at her watch. It was 4:15. We'll have the deposit, she said confidently. Brandon's parents are wiring their contribution today. My parents will add theirs and we'll make up the difference. You have $96,000 ready to wire in the next 45 minutes? I asked. We have commitments, Mom corrected. The money will be here. But not in 45 minutes. The hotel will understand, Victoria said. They're not going to lose a $480,000 booking over a minor timing issue. Amanda opened her mouth, then closed it again. Actually, I said, hotel policy is pretty strict about deposit deadlines. Especially for premium dates. June Saturdays book out 18 months in advance. How would you know hotel policy? Brandon asked. I work in hospitality. At what, a Holiday Inn? Victoria scoffed. This is the Rosewood Grand. Different level entirely. Is it? Obviously. Look around, Rachel. This isn't some budget hotel where you probably work the front desk. This is luxury. Prestige. Standards. Standards you're about to miss the deadline for. Mom's jaw tightened. Amanda, surely we can work something out. We're good for the money. Our families are well established, financially solid. We just need a small extension on the deposit deadline. Amanda looked genuinely uncomfortable now. I would need to check with management. Then check, Victoria demanded. Call your manager. Explain that the Mitchell-Young wedding is worth $500,000 and we just need 24 more hours to coordinate the deposits. I'll make a call. Amanda stood and stepped out of the room, her tablet clutched to her chest. As soon as she was gone, Victoria turned to me. This is your fault. My fault. If you hadn't made that ridiculous offer, we wouldn't be comparing our legitimate funds to your sketchy money. Now the hotel thinks we can't afford it. Can you afford it, I mean? Right now. We can afford it, Mom insisted. We just need time to coordinate transfers. In 45 minutes. Stop saying that, Victoria snapped. We know what time it is. We know the deadline. We'll make it work. How? That's not your concern. You've made it very clear you think we can't handle this ourselves. Well, watch us. Brandon pulled out his phone. I'll call my parents. See if they can expedite their wire. He stepped away, speaking in low, urgent tones. Mom did the same, calling my father about moving money between accounts. Victoria stared at me across the table. You're enjoying this. Enjoying what? Watching us scramble. Judging us. Thinking you're better than us with your mystery money and your smug little comments. I offered to help. You refused. Because your help comes with too many questions. Where did you really get that money, Rachel? What did you do? I worked for it. Doing what? You're a hospitality coordinator. I've looked up salaries. You make maybe $50,000 a year, maybe $60,000 if you're lucky. There's no way you saved $500,000 from that. Maybe I'm good at investing. In what? You don't talk about investments. You don't talk about anything. You show up to family dinners in jeans and sneakers. You drive that ancient car. You live in an apartment building Mom won't even visit because the neighborhood is questionable. Nothing about you says $500,000 savings. Maybe I prefer to keep my finances private. Or maybe you don't have any finances to discuss and this is all some weird power play. Offering money you don't have just to make us feel small. Before I could respond, Brandon returned. My parents can't wire until tomorrow. Their bank has a cutoff time for large transfers and we missed it. Victoria's face fell. What about a credit card? Can they put the deposit on a card? It's $96,000. Vic credit card limits don't go that high. Mom ended her own call looking frustrated. Your father is at a conference in Chicago. He can't access our investment accounts remotely. He's trying to authorize me, but it's going to take time. How much time? Tomorrow at the earliest. The room fell silent except for the classical music still playing softly. Call the manager back, Victoria said. Tell her we need that extension. Offer to pay extra. Whatever it takes. Victoria, Brandon said gently, maybe we should look at other dates. Other venues. No. I want this venue. I want this date. I'm not settling because of timing issues. It might be our only option. Then we'll figure something out. She looked at me again and I saw the calculation in her eyes. She was considering it. Considering taking my money despite everything she'd said. Don't, I said quietly. Don't what? Don't ask me again. You made your position clear. My money is suspicious. Taking it would taint your reputation. Remember. Things have changed. Nothing has changed except you're realizing you can't actually afford this venue on your own. Mom stood up sharply. We can afford it. We simply need time. Time you don't have. Then we'll find another venue, Victoria said, but her voice cracked. There are other hotels. Are there? Other hotels that represent your caliber? Your status? Your success? Stop it, Rachel. I'm just repeating what you said. The Rosewood Grand is for successful people. People with real careers and real money. Not, how did you put it? People playing dress up. Brandon put his hand on Victoria's arm. Vic, maybe we should listen to what other venues have available. The door opened and Amanda returned, but she wasn't alone. Behind her was Michael Torres, the hotel's general manager. I'd hired him 2.5 years ago after he'd managed the Peninsula Hotel downtown. He was excellent at his job. Michael's eyes found mine immediately and I saw the question there. I gave him a tiny nod. Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Young, he said professionally, addressing Victoria and Brandon. I understand there's a question about the deposit timeline. We need an extension, Mom said immediately. 24 hours. We're good for the money, We just need time to coordinate transfers. I see. And you're planning to book the premium package? 480,000 total. Yes. That's a significant booking. We appreciate your interest in the Rosewood Grand. Victoria relaxed slightly. So you'll give us the extension? I'm afraid I can't do that. The relief drained from her face. What? Our policy on premium dates is very clear. Deposits are required by the deadline or the date goes to the next party on the waiting list. We have 17 couples waiting for June Saturday availability. But we're here. We're committed. We're planning to pay. Tomorrow, Michael said gently. You're planning to pay tomorrow. Our deadline is today. This is ridiculous, Mom snapped. Over one day? You'd lose a $500,000 booking over one day. We wouldn't lose the booking, ma'am. We'd simply offer it to one of the 17 couples who can meet the deposit requirement today. That's terrible customer service, Victoria said, her voice rising. We're sitting here ready to commit and you're going to throw us out over a technicality? It's not a technicality. It's hotel policy. Then change the policy. I don't have the authority to change policy, Ms. Mitchell. Then get someone who does. Get the owner. Get whoever makes these decisions. Michael's eyes flicked to me again, then back to Victoria. The owner is aware of the situation. And what does the owner say? The owner believes that policy exists for a reason. We've found that clients who can't meet deposit deadlines often have similar issues with subsequent payments. It's a red flag. A red flag. Mom's voice was ice. Are you suggesting we're not financially reliable? I'm suggesting that needing an extension on day 3 of a 3-day courtesy hold indicates potential payment issues. This is insulting, Brandon said. We're not some fly-by-night operation. Our families are established, respected. I'm sure you are. But the Rosewood Grand has standards to maintain. Part of those standards is ensuring our clients can meet their financial commitments. We can meet them, Victoria insisted. Tomorrow. We can meet them tomorrow. Which is after the deadline. By one day. Yes. Victoria stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. This is absurd. Rachel, tell them. Tell them you'll pay the deposit right now. Wire the money, do whatever, just get us this venue. Everyone looked at me. You rejected my money 20 minutes ago, I said calmly. That was before, she caught herself. Before you realized you actually needed it? We don't need it, Mom said quickly. We're simply trying to resolve a timing issue. If Rachel wants to loan us the deposit temporarily, we'll pay her back tomorrow when our transfer's clear. A loan, I repeated. A family loan. Temporary. We'll repay you immediately. The same money that was suspicious and potentially illegal 30 minutes ago. We were being cautious, Victoria said. That's different from actually needing help. This is just bridging a timing gap. And what about what you said? About me living in a questionable neighborhood? Driving an old car? Working a basic hotel job? I was surprised by your offer. I didn't mean. You meant every word. Silence fell over the room again. Michael cleared his throat. I need a decision. We have other clients waiting. Rachel, please, Victoria said, and there were actual tears in her eyes now. This is my dream wedding. I've wanted this forever. Please don't let your hurt feelings ruin this for me. I hurt feelings. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I questioned your money. I'm sorry I said those things. I was just shocked. But you're my sister. Family helps family. Please. I looked at her, really looked at her. At 28, Victoria had spent her entire life being the successful one, the pretty one, the one everyone praised. I'd been the quiet younger sister, the one who didn't quite measure up. She'd gone to law school, joined a prestigious firm, married the right kind of guy. I'd gone into hospitality and disappeared from family prominence. She genuinely couldn't understand why I wasn't jumping to help her now. Michael, I said quietly. Could you explain to my family what your position is here? I'm the general manager of the Rosewood Grand. And who do you report to? The hotel owner. And who is the hotel owner? He gestured to me. Ms. Rachel Chin. The silence that followed was deafening. Victoria sat down slowly. Brandon's mouth opened but no sound came out. Mom went completely still. I'm sorry, Victoria finally said. What? Rachel Chin is the owner of the Rosewood Grand Hotel, Michael repeated clearly. She purchased the property 3 years ago. I report directly to her. That's impossible, Mom whispered. It's public record. The sale was finalized in March 3 years ago. Purchase price, $42 million. $42 million, Victoria couldn't finish the sentence. Rachel doesn't have $42 million, Mom said, but her voice was uncertain now. She owns 6 hotels, Michael continued. The Rosewood Grand, the Peninsula Downtown, the Harbor View Resort, the Madison Plaza, the Oceanfront Luxury Suites and the Metropolitan Inn. Combined property value, approximately $230 million. Brandon made a strange choking sound. 6 hotels, Victoria repeated numbly. She also owns the property management company that operates all 6 properties, Michael added. Revenue last year was $87 million. Profit margin, 41%. Stop, Mom said. Just stop. Michael looked at me. I nodded and he stepped back. I started small, I said into the silence. Bought a failing bed and breakfast when I was 23. Fixed it up, made it profitable, sold it for double what I paid. Used that money to buy a small hotel. Then another. Then I saw the Rosewood Grand was going on the market and I couldn't resist. The Rosewood Grand is your hotel, Victoria said like she was testing out the words. Has been for 3 years. The hotel where I've dreamed of having my wedding since I was 16. Yes. The hotel that represents success and status and caliber. According to you, yes. Oh my God. She put her face in her hands. Brandon found his voice. You offered to pay for the venue. Your venue. I offered to gift you the wedding package. The full $480,000. No strings, no repayment needed. Because you own the hotel. Because you're my sister. Mom stood up shakily. This entire time. All these years. We thought you were struggling. You wanted to think I was struggling. It fit better with your worldview. You let us think it. You never asked. Not once in 3 years did any of you ask how I was really doing. You assumed I was barely scraping by because I don't wear designer clothes and I drive a reliable car instead of a status symbol. You could have told us, Victoria said, her voice small. When? At family dinners where you talked about your cases and your successes and I couldn't get a word in? At holiday gatherings where Mom introduced you as, my daughter the lawyer, and me as Rachel, she works at hotels? When exactly should I have announced that I owned a hotel empire? Empire, Mom repeated faintly. That's what the business journals call it. I was on the cover of Hospitality Today last month. Featured article about young entrepreneurs in luxury hotel management. None of you read it. We didn't know to look for it, Victoria protested. You didn't care to look. There's a difference. Michael shifted uncomfortably. Should I, give you privacy for this conversation? No, I said. We're almost done. Victoria, Brandon, you have a decision to make. Victoria looked up, her makeup starting to run. What decision? Whether you want to book your wedding here or not. Can we? After everything we said. That depends. Amanda, what's our policy on clients who insult our staff? Amanda had been standing frozen by the door. We ask them to leave. And clients who question the legitimacy of our business practices? Same policy. But I'm not just staff, I continued. I'm the owner. So the question is, do I want to host a wedding for a family that thinks I'm involved in fraud? That thinks my money is suspicious? That told me to stick to budget hotels. Rachel, please, Mom started. I'm not finished. You were right about one thing, Victoria. The Rosewood Grand does represent a certain caliber of client. Clients who treat people with respect. Clients who don't make assumptions based on appearances. Clients who understand that success comes in many forms. We were wrong, Victoria said. About everything. We were horrible and judgmental and completely wrong. You were. So you won't let us book? I let the question hang in the air for a long moment. Michael, what's the cancellation policy on the courtesy hold? Typically the hold just expires at 5 p.m. No penalties. And what time is it now? He checked his watch. 4:47. So we have 13 minutes. Yes, ma'am. I looked at my sister, at my mother, at Brandon, who'd been so confident about doing things the traditional way. Here's what's going to happen, I said. I'm going to offer one more time to gift you the wedding package. Full 480,000. Everything included. My wedding present to my sister. Victoria's breath caught. But there are conditions. What conditions? Mom asked warily. First, you attend weekly family dinners. At my house, which you've never seen because you've never asked to visit. We have real conversations about respect and assumptions. Done, Victoria said immediately. Second, you issue a public apology to the hotel staff, all of them, for implying they work at a budget hotel and questioning their professionalism. Absolutely. Third, you volunteer 20 hours at the hotel over the next 6 months. Front desk, housekeeping, event coordination. You learn what actually goes into running a luxury property. Brandon nodded. We can do that. And fourth, I looked directly at Mom, you stop introducing me as Rachel who works at hotels and start introducing me accurately. As a hotel owner. As a successful businesswoman. As someone who's accomplished something. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I will. I promise. You have until 5 p.m. to decide. That's 13 minutes. We don't need 13 minutes, Victoria said, standing up. We accept. All of it. Every condition. You're sure? Because once we process this booking, you're committed to all of those terms. I'm sure. Rachel, I'm so sorry. For all of it. 4 years of dismissing you. For assuming the worst. For not seeing what was right in front of me. I'm sorry too, Mom added. You built something incredible and instead of celebrating it, we belittled you. That was wrong. Brandon cleared his throat. I barely know you, Rachel, but from what I've seen today, you're remarkable. I'm sorry I went along with the assumptions. That was weak. I looked at Michael. Process the booking. Full premium package. Mark it as a family gift from the owner. Wait, Victoria said. $480,000. That's too much. Even with everything it's a gift. Accept it. I don't deserve it. Probably not. But you're my sister and this is your dream wedding and despite everything I want you to have it. She crossed the room and hugged me, crying into my shoulder. Thank you. Thank you. I'll do better. I promise I'll do better. Mom joined the hug, then Brandon, and for a moment we stood there in the consultation room of my hotel, my family finally seeing me for who I actually was. When we separated, Amanda was smiling and Michael looked relieved. I'll process the paperwork, Amanda said. Miss Chin, do you want to sign off personally? Please. She handed me the booking contract and I signed as both the gift giver and the property owner. Victoria watched the signatures with something like awe. 6 hotels, she said quietly. How did I not know my sister owned 6 hotels? 7, I corrected. The contract on the Bayside Resort finalized this morning. I just haven't announced it yet. 7 hotels at 30 years old. 31 next month. How? I worked hard. I was smart with money. I saw opportunities and took them. And I didn't waste time trying to impress people who weren't paying attention. Mom flinched. That's fair. It's true. I built this while you were all busy assuming I was failing. The question now is, are you going to keep assuming or are you going to actually get to know me? Know you, Victoria said firmly. I want to know everything. Your business, your properties, your life. All of it. Same, Mom added. No more assumptions. No more dismissing you. Brandon nodded agreement. Then we start Sunday, I said. Family dinner at my house. 6 p.m. I'll send the address. What should we bring? Victoria asked. Just yourselves. And maybe leave the assumptions at the door. She laughed, a watery sound. Deal. Michael walked them through the next steps of the wedding planning process while I stood by the windows overlooking the harbor. This hotel had been my riskiest purchase, the one that pushed me from comfortable success to significant wealth. I'd been 28 and terrified, but I'd trusted my business instincts and it had paid off spectacularly. My family had never asked about that fear. Never asked about the risks I'd taken, the long nights planning and strategizing, the satisfaction of turning struggling properties into thriving businesses. They just assumed I was working a basic job and getting by. But now they knew. And while I couldn't erase the years of dismissal and condescension, I could give them a chance to do better going forward. After Victoria, Brandon, and Mom left, still stunned and apologetic, Michael approached me. That was intense, he said. That was overdue. Are you really going to gift them the full package? I am. Even after everything they said? Especially after everything they said. Because now they know better and they'll have to live with knowing they judged me so harshly while I was still willing to be generous. That's its own kind of lesson. He smiled. You're devious. I prefer strategic. Either way, it's going to be interesting having your sister volunteer here for 20 hours. Put her on housekeeping rotation. Let her see what real work looks like. You're enjoying this. A little, I admitted. Is that wrong? After what I witnessed today? Not even a little bit. I left the hotel an hour later, after reviewing some quarterly reports and approving a renovation plan for the peninsula. My phone buzzed as I reached my car, the Honda Civic that Victoria had mocked. A text from Victoria. Just looked up your interview in hospitality today. You were wearing jeans and sneakers in the photo. I get it now. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. I'm sorry it took me so long to understand. See you Sunday. Another from Mom. Your father just landed in Chicago and I told him everything. He's in shock. He's also incredibly proud. We both are. We should have told you that years ago. And one from Brandon. Thank you for giving us another chance. I promise we'll do better. Also, is the hotel hiring for legal counsel? Asking for a friend. The friend is me. I smiled and drove home to my penthouse apartment. Not a one-bedroom as they'd assumed, but a 4,000 square foot space with harbor views and a private rooftop terrace. The building was another property I owned, purchased 2 years ago when I decided to consolidate my real estate investments. My phone rang as I parked. An unknown number. Rachel Chin. Miss Chin, this is Diane Pritchard from Metropolitan Business Weekly. I'm doing a feature on young women in luxury hospitality. Your name came up repeatedly as someone we should profile. Would you be interested in an interview? What would the article focus on? Your business strategy, your property acquisition approach, and what it's like building a hotel empire in your 20s and 30s. We've heard you're very selective about press, but our sources say you're worth the persistence. Who are your sources? I spoke with Michael Torres at the Rosewood Grand. He spoke very highly of you. I made a mental note to tease Michael about recruiting journalists. I'll consider it. Send me the interview questions and I'll review them. Wonderful. One more thing. Is it true you just purchased the Bayside Resort? News travels fast. In this industry, boys. Congratulations, by the way. That property has been on the market for 2 years. Everyone's been trying to figure out who finally bought it. I like a challenge. Clearly. I'll send those questions over. Thank you for your time, Ms. Chin. I ended the call and looked up at my building, my home, my investment that had appreciated 30% in 2 years. Victoria was right about one thing. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. But it was satisfying to finally be seen. My phone buzzed again. A text from Amanda. Just wanted to say what you did today was incredible. Your sister had no idea what she was walking into. I replied, she does now. That's what matters. Sunday dinner was going to be interesting. I'd show them the penthouse, the terrace, maybe pull up the portfolios on my other properties. Let them see the full scope of what they'd been dismissing for years. But more than that, I'd get to know them too. Really know them. Because while they'd been busy assuming the worst about me, I'd been assuming they didn't care. Maybe we were both wrong about each other. Or maybe they just needed to see me differently before they could appreciate me properly. Either way, we had a wedding to plan. And this time, my family would know exactly who was paying for it and why that mattered more than any assumption they'd ever made. I walked into my building, past the doorman who greeted me by name, up the private elevator to my penthouse, and I smiled. 7 hotels. 87 million in revenue. A sister who was finally seeing me clearly. And a wedding that would remind my family every time they looked at the photos that they'd underestimated me spectacularly. Not bad for someone they thought should stick to budget hotels. Not bad at all.